Samples in hot water after their VP was caught on a hot mic saying that their soups use bioengineered meat and that only poor people eat them.
We have shit for poor people. Who buys our shit? I don't buy these products barely anymore. So I'll be bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer.
Tonight, I hop back into the dark side of TikTok. Welcome back, family. As y'all know, before the video starts, I just want to thank all my channel members for the support. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, remember to smash that subscribe button. We are 10,000 off of 100,000 subscribers. Let's try to hit 100K before the end of the year. Let's go.
This accident would change Michael Jackson's life forever when his hair caught on fire while filming this Pepsi commercial. In the 1980s, Pepsi partnered with Michael Jackson to sponsor his upcoming world tour and to have him star in a couple Pepsi commercials. The first ad was a group of kids dancing in the streets to a remixed Billie Jean. One of the kids, dressed like Michael Jackson, bumps into real-life Michael Jackson. That kid would go on to play Carlton Banks in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, by the way. The second commercial Michael Jackson did with Pepsi in January 1984 would become one of the most infamous accidents in advertising history. This was filmed on stage in the Shrine Auditorium in front of thousands of fans. On the sixth take of Michael Jackson walking on stage, the pyrotechnics went off before he moved down the stairs, and his head and hair caught on fire. He didn't even seem to realize it while he's still dancing until his brothers and crew members rushed towards him to put out the flames. He suffered second and third degree burns to his face and scalp. Only 25 years old at the time, Jackson's life was forever altered from this accident. His hair would never grow back after this. He had several operations to repair the burns on his head, and he suffered from chronic pain and began taking painkillers, which he would become addicted to and eventually lead to his unexpected passing. Maybe craziest of all, this post pointed out that the Pepsi accident happened exactly in the middle of his life, 9,282 days after his birth and 9,282 days after he passed away.
Topic itself that this is meant to represent is disturbing, don't get me wrong. However, this specific featuring right here is not the craziest thing in the world. This TikTok video that I got tagged in shows this person on the ground looking like they're praying. There's a person behind them holding a sword. The camera then zooms in on the person that's holding the sword in the background, and the face is very creepy, I will admit. Now, I will say, I'm not too sure as to the exact location of this installment. However, I would guess that this is somewhere in a museum, and what it's meant to represent is seppuku. The history behind seppuku is somewhat convoluted. Most oftentimes, though, it's associated with samurai. Samurai are meant to be courageous, so if they get defeated in battle and they don't pass away, they sit down in the middle during seppuku. They use their blade to remove the contents of their guts. There's then a person behind waiting for that defeated samurai to finish, and then they finish them off. It's a very interesting ritual, not so much used nowadays. I would definitely recommend doing more research though, because what I talked about is just a small scratch of the surface of information about seppuku.
Erica Kirk has happily revealed that she is 8 weeks pregnant with Charlie Kirk's child, saying it was him leaving his final gift to the world. The only problem with that is, Charlie Kirk died 10 weeks ago. The widow of Charlie Kirk has announced that she is pregnant with what would have been their third child together, except there's a slight issue. The dates don't quite add up, with even Charlie Kirk superfans saying, "The math just ain't mathing on this one." Vice President JD Vance was the first to congratulate the expectant mother on Twitter, saying that the child will be a light in the darkness that will hopefully get to grow up in a quite peaceful America, something that his father never got to experience. I will love and cherish him, because if it isn't him, I would recommend an abortion as if he were my own son. We are all Charlie Kirk now. We've all been where he has. This weird congratulatory message has led many people to rekindle the rumour that Erica Kirk and JD Vance may have been hooking up after Charlie Kirk's accidental death.
I mean, I guess it depends on when she got the news, because if she got the news 2 weeks ago, that means it would correlate to 8 weeks. But if she recently just got it and then she recently just tweeted it, then that's kind of an issue.
Guys, be very careful where you're getting your rice from, because what you're seeing right here is manufactured plastic rice, and there's a lot of videos all over the internet of people getting rubbery rice. I'm gonna show you soon, but look at this. This is what's going on right now, and people are starting to notice. Look at this. He crumbles up the rice. He knows it's not natural, and it's bouncy, like rubber rice, right? So we need to make sure that we're getting, again, organic food. There's a way to check if your rice is plastic or if it's natural, and I'm going to show you right now. Just throw a little bit in a hot cast iron pan, and if it starts popping up, then you know it's real. If it starts melting, then you know it is plastic. And you're gonna see in this video, the rice, you know, it starts popping up and changing colors. That is what it should do. It's natural. See how it's popping up? See how they're all popping? And start changing a little bit more brown because they're burning. This is natural rice. But if it starts melting in the pan, you don't want to eat it. So be very, very careful, guys, okay? Peace and love.
Some guy that got inspired by the TV show You, and this is a similar story with this guy, Christopher Thomas, right? He was stalking Samantha Stites for over like 10 years, and this happened in 2011. She was really trying to be social, so she ended up joining this Christian group. But she was very outgoing, very friendly, so she saw this guy, Christopher, right? She approached him, started making conversation, but it was like, just like small talk. The way he took it was a flirtatious way, because he started basically flirting with her like over Facebook and stuff, messaging, oh, like, I really like you, like I want to get to know you. And she kind of like brushed it to the side, right? But she would still see him at the Christian group. It started getting weird when he started showing up at every single spot that she was at.
And he would always be there.
He would always just be there. Like, it was so weird because she would walk into the grocery store, seconds after he would somehow be there. So he was like, God really wants us to be together. God told me, like, you didn't choose me, but I chose you. 2014, she finally got a restraining order on him, right? She was telling the cops, like, hey, listen, he's following me all the time. I really don't feel safe around him. It was approved for 6 years. 6 years later,
he waited.
The
bro came back.
The restraining order was done. On October 7th, 2020 is when everything changed. She wakes up to a loud creak in her house.
No.
And as soon as she opens her eyes, there's a man standing right there. She can't do anything. He ends up like blindfolding her, bonding her, puts her inside her truck and takes her to some like location. They get to this location. She doesn't know where she is. She's inside this like box, and on the sides there's y'all know those foam sound panels?
Yep.
They're all over the wall, like some blue and black panels all over the wall.
He had a soundproof room.
Exactly. And he told her, he literally tells her, this bunker was made specifically for you.
Wow.
And I got inspiration
from the show,
the Netflix TV show.
He tells her this.
He tells her this straight up, like.
That touched back on one of my recent videos. I think I uploaded it on Monday, where I talked about how people can be influenced by like TV shows. And this is a prime example of that.
This video should terrify you. He's part of an experiment, but nobody around him knows it. He's an actor pretending that he's in really bad shape. He's really messed up. And hundreds of people are walking past him and completely ignoring him. So now they switch up the experiment and they put a woman instead. After 4 minutes, 34 people walked past her like she wasn't even there. Now here's where it gets crazy. This woman knows something's off, but she doesn't want to help because nobody else is helping. But look what happens when somebody does help. She comes over and she helps. But she needed to see somebody take action first before she did something. Now here is where it gets really crazy. They put the same guy from the first experiment in a suit, and he was helped in 6 seconds because he was wearing a suit. And that right there is the dangerous part about following the crowd. People don't think, they imitate. Just because everybody's doing something doesn't mean it's right. This is how good people could ignore terrible things. It's called the bystander effect. It shows what a difference one person could make. Think for yourself, because if you don't, then the crowd will end up thinking for you.
Dude, I was watching this video the other day and it was this dude doing like a gold digger prank in a way. He dressed as a homeless dude, like a dude that kind of looks poor or homeless. Then he dressed as like a business casual suit. And he got so much more respect. It's actually insane how much people look up to people in business suits.
You want to know why your Campbell's chicken tastes the same every year? Because we print it. Real veggies go bad, but these? Bioengineered, genetically boosted, shelf-stable for life. Perfect for profit margins. Look at this stuff, layer by layer, pure printed protein. Why pay for chickens when we can make our own meat? These are our latest creations. We test the printed stuff on them first. They eat anything we print. Strong little monsters. The board loves our printed meat plan. Costs are way down, quality is way down, but who cares? People keep buying it. Straight from the printer, into the soup, into the can. Bioengineered veggies, printed chicken, enhancer serum, all mixed together nice and cheap.
Shh, listen close. This batch is still alive.
people exposed that. I think it was like Campbell's brand or something. I've never eaten it, thank God. But people exposed that. Apparently the owner of it was saying it's fake or something like that. It was some crazy stuff. There's more clips later in the video that literally expose the actual audio call of him claiming that this is fake meat. It's crazy.
One bad step, and he is already dead.
What is this alcohol?
Buddy, I'm not too sure how you got into this situation, and I'm not too sure how you're going to get out. All jokes aside, this video that I got tagged in shows something you should never do. Ride down an escalator that has steps missing and appears to be undergoing maintenance, and that's best case scenario. Most people here probably take escalators every single day, maybe for work, and you don't think anything of it. And while escalator injuries and fatalities are quite rare, most of the time when they happen, it's when somebody falls into an opening where the gears are moving. I've had several viral incidents before happen where people will step off the escalator and fall into this compartment. For example, this woman ended up saving her son, but unfortunately she was pulled down and lost her life. Whenever it comes to moving gears and heavy machinery, humans are always going to lose when placed in that situation. And this person is voluntarily doing that, which is insane. One false step and you are dead here. So again, I highly recommend not taking an escalator that's out of order. I don't even know the context behind this clip, but I figured I'd warn people just in case.
They do say you have a higher chance of dying on an escalator compared to an elevator.
Campbell's is in hot water after their VP was caught on a hot mic saying that their soups use bioengineered meat and that only poor people eat them. In the recording, he said this.
We have shit for f***ing poor people. Who buys our shit? I don't buy f***ing products barely anymore. It's not healthy. Now that I know what the f*** in it, bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer. You?
If the vice president of the company is talking about his soup this way, I'm never eating it again. But that's my opinion. Let me know what you think about this in the comments and make sure to follow if you want to get all your news in one place.
Another reason why you need to stop eating processed food. So allegedly, a disturbing truth has been revealed about Campbell's soup. And allegedly, the chicken that Campbell's has been using inside of their chicken noodle soup and chicken soup and any soup that contains chicken is not real. You heard what I said. The chicken that they've been putting inside of the cans of chicken soup allegedly is not real. As a matter of fact, take a listen to this.
We have shit for fucking poor people. Who buys our shit? People are keep it. I don't buy products barely anymore. It's not healthy. Now that I know what the in it, even in a can of soup, I look at it, look at meat, bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer.
And by just listening to this clip, you heard what he allegedly just said, right? I don't want a piece of chicken that came out of a 3D printer. He also allegedly said that he doesn't want any bioengineered chicken. And now to put some context into 3D printed chicken, that's exactly what 3D printed chicken looks like. And just in case you have any concern as to how long 3D printed chicken has been around, this article is from September of 2021. This 3D printed chicken breast was cooked with a frickin' laser. Engineers at Columbia University developed a system that can simultaneously produce and heat food with precision. So this is pretty disturbing. As I said, it's alleged. If it turns out that it's true, what other companies are putting 3D printed chicken into their food? And if you go back and listen to the statement that was made, by the way, that's the vice president of Campbell's. He also stated that their food is for poor people. That should also be a very strong indicator to you as to how this company feels about you. And the individual responsible for recording the VP's rant, as you can see right by this headline, Campbell's worker fired after recording VP's rant mocking poor people and 3D printed chicken. So keep this in the back of your mind. As you can see, it can look like chicken. It may taste like chicken, but everyone heard what was said on that clip. It's not chicken. So I guess my question to you is, after hearing that, will you still eat this if it allegedly is true? And also, what other companies do you think are using 3D printed chicken. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
I think McDonald's might be using 3D printed chicken. My thought is, how the hell do you 3D print a chicken and make it actually, like, in some sense nutritious, you know what I'm saying? That kind of reminds me of the SpongeBob episodes where they were printing Krabby Patties.
David situation. As of right now, David in this whole murder mystery case, he is no longer a suspect because new news came out that Celeste, they have a biopsy. They're saying this is what they suspect, that she had a overdose. But why the hell is she still
in the car? Yeah.
What if maybe she did overdose because of them and then they're obviously trying to hide that?
Yeah, hide that. Okay. But my theory is like all the evidence is there, the tattoos like that. There's no way that.
Yeah, there's no way he's not a suspect, right?
Yeah.
So check this out. TMZ put out a video, and it's of the main guy that like gets information.
They're gonna move on somebody not too long from now. Surveillance video, Tesla video, and DNA that I think is going to correct this.
Yeah. Yeah, where is the Tesla video? That's a really good point.
So 100%, there's footage of somebody there.
Yeah.
And how the body got in there. But why is nothing said right now?
Yeah.
I thought I had heard of all the worst serial killers, but I had never heard of this guy. This is Kurt Werner Wickman, and he might go down as one of the worst serial killers in German history. Now, this is coming from a podcast episode I just did covering some of his worst confirmed crimes, but to show you how horrible he was, let me tell you a story. In 1989, a woman named Birgit Meyer vanished without a trace as she was leaving a restaurant heading home. Her husband was pretty quickly ruled out, and there were no other suspects really in this vanishing. But police got a tip that at one point in her life, she had gone home with this very normal man named Kurt. And so police thought, it's at least something, let's go check this guy out. So the police show up to his house just to ask him a few questions, and they bring a cadaver dog with them. Essentially, immediately once they get there, the cadaver dog sits down because it smells human remains. The dog proceeded to hit at over 100 sites on Kurt's property, indicating that human remains were at all of those sites. So the police are like, okay, we definitely have to investigate this guy. They get a warrant and they go straight into his house. And what they find in his basement, all the way in the back, is this locked door. Now, none of the other doors in his house are locked, and his wife says that she just doesn't ask questions about this door and she has no idea what's in it. And when police finally get inside of that door, it is essentially a torture chamber. They find torture devices. They find videos that he had made, videos that he had collected. They find women's purses, handbags, shoes, all of this stuff belonging to other women, and they find a pair of handcuffs that have a drop of blood on them. And when they test the blood, it's Birgit's. And then they start digging around his property and they find items belonging to what they believe is over 200 people. There is so much more to this story, as I'm sure you can imagine, and police in Germany are still trying to figure out the identity of all the people whose belongings Kurt had. I do a breakdown on some of his worst crimes. I also get a lot into his really crazy backstory, and you can listen to it on the Heart Starts Pounding podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Half of these people are completely lying.
I'm not trying to accuse everyone in this line of lying, but apparently this has become a large problem for some different airlines. The video that you guys just watched here shows a bunch of people sitting in line for Air India, and the one glaringly obvious thing about this video is that every single person in line here is using a wheelchair, and it's alleged that a lot of them do not actually have disabilities. Apparently, this is something that's been being seen more and more lately, and no, this is not just happening in India, where people are faking disabilities in order to get priority boarding, to get through the airport process faster. This photo, for example, was taken outside of a Frontier gate. And obviously this has become a problem because the people that do need priority boarding are getting pushed out by those who really don't. They're just in a rush. That being said, I don't know why people would be in such a rush to sit on the plane and wait anyways. This line of thinking doesn't make sense to me at all. But yeah, there have been airlines that have been seeing this more and more lately. It's really too bad.
The death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped.
As you can see,
a voice cuts in saying that death is irreversible, and the fact that she is trapped before it was cut.
here in London, it is a lovely day, and as the hearse heads out into West London.
So that video like intrigued me a lot, and I saw someone commented and they were saying something like the elites now have like technology where they can transfer consciousness, but once you die, it's irreversible. Like you can't, you know what I'm saying, take that back. And apparently Queen Elizabeth missed that opportunity. So if that's true, then you know what I'm saying, that's kind of scary.
The evening of June 28, 1997, an 83-year-old woman named Leila Howard turned up the radio in the living room of her small home in Texas, and then she took a seat next to her husband, Raymond, on the couch. Raymond was now 88 years old. He was also recovering from brain surgery, and they both were planning to go to bed in the next few minutes because they had a big day the next day. They were going to go to the Pioneer Day Music Festival, which is an annual fiddling festival located about 15 miles away in the town of Salado, Texas. The next morning, Leila and Raymond walked out the front door of their house, and they walked down to their driveway where their Oldsmobile car was parked and began driving. That evening, Leila's son, Hal, decided to swing by Leila and Raymond's house. He noticed that Leila and Raymond's car was not in the driveway, and so he thought, maybe his mom and Raymond were out driving around somewhere and they'd be back later. A few hours later, at 8 p.m., Hal drove back to Leila and Raymond's house. He saw their car was still not back yet. He opened up the door and he walked inside. All he could find was on one of the beds there were all these neat stacks of clothes that were laid out, and so it just seemed like something's off here. Hal ran outside and he called the police. The police quickly discovered that Leila and Raymond had never even made it to the music festival, and nobody reported seeing anything or hearing anything. That is, until 3 days later, located 500 miles away, a police officer in a little town in Arkansas spotted an Oldsmobile that was driving with its lights off. And so the officer pulled the car over and he ran the license plate, and it came back as belonging to Leila and Raymond. He had not received any updates about this missing couple. And the officer would say to Leila, "Hey, you're driving with your lights off." And Leila would say, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry." And so he just flicked her lights on and said, "I'm going to give you a warning, but be careful with your lights." The police officer in Arkansas who pulled them over would eventually put it together who he had pulled over. And at that point, Arkansas would get in on the search for Leila and Raymond. July 12th, these two young boys were walking by a small stream in a town called Hot Springs, Arkansas, when they began to smell a terrible smell. Police would come out and they would search that entire area, and they would find Leila and Raymond's Oldsmobile at the base of a 25-foot cliff, and they were both deceased. There were no skid marks on the cliff itself, which meant Leila, who was driving, never hit the brakes as she went over the cliff. Nobody knows why Leila and Raymond abruptly left their town and drove hundreds of miles into Arkansas, although their family members have speculated that it could be because Leila and Raymond had declining cognitive function. This story is what inspired a very, very famous song from the late 1990s. It's called The Way by Fastball. I'll sing you a line and see if you can remember this song. Where were they going without ever knowing the way? Anyone can see the road that they walk on is paved in gold. It's always summer, you'll never get cold. You'll never be hungry, you'll never be old and gray. Boom, there you go. If you know the song, now you know it's got a pretty intense backstory.
This has been CIA. Of course I commit war crimes. I commit regular crimes too, but look at the hierarchy of Crime Stoppers. I'm at the top, so who gonna stop me? I'm the CIA. Of course I call them black sites. That's mainly the color of the people that's in there. I'm the CIA. Of course shit don't be adding up. That's because I did the math. I'm the CIA. Of course I destroyed the black family. Them niggas was working together. They were a real pain in the ass. I'm the CIA. I ain't put no crack in them neighborhoods. I gave them niggas coke. They turned it into crack. I don't even got the recipe. I'm the CIA. Of course I lie to you. The truth is classified, dummy. Plus, if I did tell you the truth, you wouldn't even believe it. Watch this. Martin Luther King actually worked for us. We killed him so he would never snitch. See, look at you. You don't believe me. I'm the CIA. Of course I was sad when King Von died. He was like a free assassin. At one point, he was killing more niggas than us. I'm really just sad we didn't get to clone him in time.
Real Venom is on Earth now. In Panama. This one's going viral on TikTok. A little meteorite rock, right? Yeah. And it actually landed. The guy that found it, he kept vlogging about it. Puts it on like a safe, and every day he vlogs it. Yeah. Fam, it's turning into like a fungus. The third day, he opened the safe. It was just like webs. Then Loki got predicted because there was a movie a while ago literally about bacteria that was in space.
We're looking at the first proof of life beyond Earth.
You finally a daddy? It's gonna be a big custody battle over this one.
That's beautiful.
The evening of March 31st, 2012, a 40-year-old man named Justin was standing in the corner of a boxing ring inside of a convention center in Ottawa, Canada. He could hear the screams of hundreds of fans in the stands all around him, and he knew thousands more were watching him on TV. And Justin was pretty nervous, because this was not only the most important boxing match of his whole career, but it was also his very first, and Justin knew he was massively the underdog. Justin looked across the ring at the other corner, and he locked eyes just for a second with his opponent, whose name name was Brass Knuckles Brazeau. He had served in the Canadian military, he had a black belt in karate, and he was notorious for packing an insanely strong punch. The announcers couldn't help but begin making fun of Justin. They even quickly nicknamed him the Shiny Pony. When the bell rang for the first round, Shiny Pony got up and he charged across the ring and immediately just started swinging at Brass Knuckles, and none of them landed. And at some point, Brass Knuckles really squared him up and hit him right in the jaw with one of his famous right hooks, and Justin's like about to fall over, and right at that moment, the bell rings, the round ends. And so for the next several seconds that the two men were sitting in their corners, Brass Knuckles is basically just relaxing until the next round starts. But over in Shiny Pony's corner, like the medic is working on his face because he's bleeding everywhere, and all he could think in his head was, I can't give up. And so the bell rang again. He goes across the ring over to Brass Knuckles, except this time when he starts throwing punches, they land. And so when the bell finally rang after round 2, it was Brass Knuckles who was barely on his feet, stumbling back to his corner. And it was like everybody was in shock. Like, wait a minute, now it's 1-1? When that bell rang for the third round, Justin got up and he went over there to Brass Knuckles and just pummeled him. And eventually he struck Brass Knuckles in the nose hard enough that his nose kind of exploded and began bleeding everywhere. And the ref actually had to step in and separate them, and he ended the fight. It was a technical knockout, and Shiny Pony had won. Now, as much as this victory was huge for Justin, the truth was, Justin was not trying to become a professional boxer. This was actually just a charity match. And you know, Brass Knuckles Brazeau also was not a professional boxer. These two had just simply come together to have this match in order to raise money for charity. But Justin had another goal. He knew that his reputation in Canada was of being this sort of soft, pampered, weak guy, and he thought, if I can just get in the ring with a really formidable opponent in Brass Knuckles Brazeau and hold my own and maybe even beat Brass Knuckles in this fight, that could potentially sway the public's opinion about me. And that is exactly what happened. It was like he was the talk of Canada for a little while there. They're like, oh, look. And so Justin would use that momentum from the fight to eventually land the one thing he wanted more than anything else. He would get elected as the Prime Minister of Canada. The Shiny Pony's full name was Justin Trudeau.
That was so unexpected. I didn't expect that dude to become the Prime Minister of Canada. That's insane. That's a good come-up story, though. Like, W for him, dude.
When I say it's all of them, I mean it's all of them. We know about Big Mike. We know about Barbie Bush. We know about what's going on in France. Well, did you see what's going on in Bulgaria? Have you seen the Bulgarian princess? Wait, let's get a little closer. I can't. Well, don't worry, you guys. It's just fitness.
She doesn't really give princess vibes. You know what I'm saying? I know girls that work out a lot and they look nothing like that.
What the fuck is that? A giant stingray?
That would be an insanely large giant stingray. I tell you what, that would set some records, but no, that's not what it is. This TikTok video that I got tagged in got over 50 million views. It shows these people on a cruise. This guy's clearly enamored with something that he sees in the water. The person recording then walks over. We can see this giant floating mass, and they think it's a giant stingray, but no, this is actually sargassum. Sargassum is a free-floating brown algae. It creates these large mats in the ocean, sometimes tens of thousands of square feet, and it's pretty important for marine life when it's out in the ocean. So seeing this here on your cruise is a good thing. But these sargassum mats can become a problem when they reach the shore. This can disrupt the local ecosystem and cause some pretty big problems when it comes to decomposition of the sargassum. If ocean temperatures keep rising, we probably will see more of these sargassum mats too. Again, in the ocean, they're not as much of a problem. When they wash ashore, they can be. So hopefully it's manageable.
Her mouth was on fire. That's what a mother is saying about her daughter after she drank a margarita while out at a Mexican restaurant. So what was in the margarita? Here's Allison Hall.
Holly Hill was a beloved middle school teacher and a mother of 3. But a Valentine's Day date with her husband, Brandon, turned tragic in a shockingly unexpected way. She ordered a margarita at this Mexican restaurant near her home in Oklahoma. After just one sip, she ran to the bathroom and called her mom.
She immediately called me from the bathroom and told me that she needed to go to the emergency room.
What was she telling you?
She said there was something in my drink and my mouth's on fire and I'm not okay.
At first, doctors thought Holly had simply sipped a margarita that was too spicy. But when her condition got worse, she received a shocking text from the restaurant manager. Somehow, Holly's margarita had been mixed with industrial oven cleaner. The brand name is Glitter. It's a grill, oven, and deep fryer cleaner. And look at the warning label, corrosive. A scan showed Holly had catastrophic internal injuries.
The GI doctor said that her esophagus looked like hamburger meat, that the chemical had ate part of her esophagus.
Brave Holly kept a heart-wrenching video diary of her struggle to stay alive. She couldn't eat and was forced to use feeding tubes for sustenance. But after 2.5 agonizing years and more than 60 surgeries, Holly lost her battle.
She was gasping for air and flailing her arms around, and she said, "Mom, I'm dying, and I need you to know that I love y'all." I really did not think that she was going to die.
How Holly's margarita came to be mixed with a toxic cleaning fluid remains a mystery. The restaurant says everyone was deeply saddened to learn of the passing of Holly Hill. The individuals involved in that incident were terminated.
I would like to see criminal charges, and I think they need to be held accountable.
A criminal probe has been launched into how Holly was served that deadly margarita.
That's a new fear unlocked. Because what? You tell me I can go to a restaurant thinking my drink is straight just for it to have cleaner in it? Whoever did that definitely deserves jail time, and that family should 100% sue that whole company. Because what? That's literally like the worst mistake a bartender could make.
The truth about who spent the most time on that island? Fine, I'll give it to you straight, no filter. The former president, you know exactly which one. Yeah, Clinton. The survivors still call him #1. Epstein used to laugh and say there was heavy competition for the title. But when the girls compared notes in the safe houses later, every single one of us agreed he took the crown no contest. He liked the dog leashes, thick black leather ones with silver studs. He'd clip them on our collars, yeah, we had collars, and parade us around the main house, barefoot on the marble, out by the pool, sometimes all the way down to the beach. If you walked slow, he'd yank. If you stumbled, he'd make you get on all fours and eat dog biscuits off the floor like a good girl. He kept a crystal bowl of them right by the bar, called them treats. When he was in the mood, he'd pick one of us, always the youngest looking, always the one who still cried, and say, "You've earned something extra special tonight. You don't need me to spell out what the extra special was, you already know." Then Hillary would walk in. Everything got darker the second she appeared. She didn't want sex. She prefers terror. She'd scream at us to get on the floor and lick up whatever mess had been made. Sometimes it was food, sometimes it wasn't. If we were too slow, she'd grab a fistful of hair and shove our faces into it while the men laughed. And then there were the nights she called the most dangerous game. They'd release us into the trees with a 10-minute head start, barefoot, no clothes. She'd be waiting in a golf cart with a hunting rifle across her lap. Bill and his buddies followed on foot with those electric pods they used on the yachts. If he caught you first, you were dragged back and degraded in ways that used to wake me up screaming. If she caught you, you didn't come back. Most times, she didn't even bother getting close. She'd just take the shot from 50 yards and watch through the scope while you bled out on the leaves. That's who they were on that island. That's who they still are. And every time you see them smiling on television, remember, most of us never came home.
GF has an ex who passed away in an unsolved accident.
I've been on the case for 3 seconds. I've already figured it out.
Today she told me about how killers often keep trophies.
Oh, but you mean confessed. Your girlfriend confessed. My boy, you are doing something. Something you're not supposed to be doing. And she wants to make your heart go, and she's trying to stop you from turning into future confession number 2.
Should I be concerned?
Bitch, you should have been concerned a long time ago. There are red flags. There are red flags. And then there are fucking red flags. Red! This is some straight up fava beans, nice Chianti fucking level of scary. And listen, my brother, listen, I understand. There's something about a person that needs the grippy socks. It's like heroin. You can't help it. It's an addiction. But that girl has confessed to murder. In her mind, she has absolved herself. Anything that happens now, in her mind, that's on you.
But no one thought that it was weird. She won the first time she was a beauty queen. No one thought that it was weird. She ran an orphanage when she was 17. Oh God, that's not weird. Is that why I was in Romania? Is that why his funeral looked like WrestleMania? Isn't it weird? I guess that hug looks sexual. Oh God, that pat on the back, the kiss is consensual. Oh, isn't it a little weird that both of them don't look sad at all? And is that why the funeral looked more like a ritual? Isn't it weird that she worships like a demon? I think it's weird. That's the same stance. A vampire appears and it causes fear in me. It looks like The Exorcism's B-roll. Is Charlie Kirk buried in a stadium? Because they burn under a steeple? Isn't it weird that Christianity now feels demonic? I think it's weird that they won't let any of us be honest. I think it's weird that this is exactly what Charlie wanted a wife to perform at his funeral in front of a crowd of warmongers. White warmongers. I think it's weird. This is the only time we've seen her crying. Isn't it weird that we all know she's lying? Isn't it weird? Because that's when normal people would hide it. And I think it's weird that all my videos on the crime scene disappeared. I think someone has an eye on me this year. I'll try and post one of these videos about the crime scene later once everything gets cleared off. You know what I mean? Have a nice day.
I do think it's pretty weird, but you know what I'm saying? End of the day, she's gonna do what she's gonna do. The weirdest one was that baby one that we heard. I think it was like that third clip or something. Apparently she was like pregnant, but Charlie died 10 weeks ago, but she's 8 weeks pregnant. So 2 weeks after he died, she was already active. I don't know. They're all conspiracies, so who knows? But yeah.
In my opinion, news agencies are very quick to say that things are a trend, but in this case, I think they are right because there are a lot of kids that are doing this and passing away because of it, so let this be a warning. This is another 2-image slideshow. The first image here shows a young man by the name of Daniel McGuire, a 14-year-old, and the second image shows a large collection of aerosol deodorants. For context, Daniel McGuire, a 14-year-old, recently just passed away on September 27th of 2025 after taking some huffs out of a deodorant can. Apparently, this is something that a lot of younger people have been doing lately. It's been referred to as fast gas, and huffing these fumes from deodorant is a way for them to get out of their right mind. And, you know, it's legal to buy deodorant. Sadly, this activity carries a lot of risks, and even doing this once could be enough to take your life. There are lots of younger kids that have passed from this, multiple stories, so don't do this. Even if you have a lot of friends at a party doing this, seriously, do not consider doing this. Just once is enough to put you under.
Dude, nowadays, I feel like people just do anything to get, you know what I'm saying, get up there, bro, get elevated. Bro, if it's really that deep, like, you know what I'm saying, just hit the tree or just, like, take a sip of some wine. Like, don't be inhaling deodorant.
What if climbing a staircase could show you exactly how you're going to die? There's a place in Brazil, Indiana called the 100 Steps Cemetery, and it is supposed to be one of the most haunted graveyards in the entire Midwest. By day, it looks totally ordinary, just like a rural cemetery with an old stone staircase. But by night, people swear that something in the air changes. Some say that the steps don't even feel like stone anymore. They claim that they feel more like bone. The legend says that you have to go there at midnight and you start at the bottom of the staircase. You then have to count each of the 100 steps out loud as you climb. That's when you meet him at the very top, the ghostly Undertaker. He has no face, he just has a dark suit, and some people say that he points directly to your future grave. Others claim that he shows you a vision, exactly how you're going to die, and that once you've seen that vision, you cannot unsee it, and this drives you into total madness. You then have to go down the stairs, slowly counting each step again. And if your final count doesn't match with the 100 that you started with, the vision that you saw isn't just a warning. It is now locked in. And it will happen. Like people say, if you try to cheat, if you try skipping steps or cutting across the hill, a ghostly hand comes up from the ground and shoves you hard enough to leave a red handprint on your skin. People say that this handprint burns. It's like getting like a branding. People who have done this ritual talk about having nightmares. Others say that they see shadow figures moving through the gravestones long after they have left. The worst stories are about the people who said that their visions started bleeding into real life, exactly how they were shown by the Undertaker. Even skeptics can admit that there is something deeply wrong about this place, and police constantly have to patrol the area because so many thrill seekers come in. That's why they put up this sign that says closed from dusk to dawn. But locals claim that this land was cursed from the start, and this cemetery is built over top of unmarked graves and violent deaths. And maybe that's the reason why this ritual feels more dangerous than just your average ghost story. Would you try this game? Let me know and follow for more.
I've always been curious how a mosquito can drill into your skin without you feeling a thing. It turns out what looks like a single needle is actually a complex kit of 6 different needles working together under a microscope. You can see the terrifying truth. 2 outer needles called maxillae have tiny teeth that saw through your skin like a steak knife. 2 other needles hold the tissue apart, opening the tunnel. Then 1 central needle, the labrum, hunts for a blood vessel to suck from. But the secret to the stealth lies in the 6th needle. This is a hypopharynx, and it's basically a spit tube. Before the mosquito takes a sip, it pumps saliva into you. This spit contains a chemical that numbs your nerves so you don't feel the scarring, and an anticoagulant to keep your blood from clotting. It's a perfect heist. By the time the numbing wears off, the mosquito is long gone. Your body realizes it's been tricked and sends an immune response to the site, and that reaction is exactly why you get that itchy red bump.
I don't know if it's just me, but every time a mosquito bites me, I can almost instantaneously feel it. Like, I'll just be chilling, I'm like, yo, what just pricked me? I'll look at just a motherfucker, I'm like, yo,
this video should terrify you. You see, these kids were part of a messed up experiment, and they had no idea what was happening. And the part that's really messed up is that the adults that were running it knew exactly what they were doing. So you see, they wanted to find out if kids stuttered because of the words that were spoken to them, or if they were born with it. So in 1938, they walked into an orphanage and gathered up 22 children. Some of them stuttered, some of them didn't, but none of them knew that they were test subjects. Now here's where it starts to get dark. Some of the kids that stuttered were told that their speech was perfectly fine, while others were told that their speech was terrible and everybody could hear it. Even the kids that spoke perfectly well were split. Now half of them were praised and the other half was told that their speech was messed up. And you want to know what's really crazy? The kids that were told that they had a stutter even when they didn't, well, yo, they started to fall apart. Their grades dropped, and some of them even stopped talking and covered their faces in shame. Imagine, all of that trauma was caused by some words that they were told by these adults. And the damage never faded. In 2007, some of the participants got paid out almost $1 million because the psychological harm followed them for their entire lives. And this is exactly how people get programmed. One label, one lie, one moment. That's all it takes for your entire identity to be rewritten. Yo, words create reality. And a scary question you gotta ask yourself is, who helped to shape your identity?
Friends, family, TV shows, probably food companies, everything, literally everything in your environment shapes you as a person, like literally everything.
8-year-old girl who tried to take the life of her friend in the woods because Slender Man told her to has now escaped. As you may remember, back in 2014, Morgan and her accomplice tried to take the life of Peyton in the woods because Slender Man told them to. They then lured her into the woods 19 times. Thankfully, she survived, and at the time, all of them were only 12 years old. And after going to trial, Morgan was found not guilty due to her mental state, and she was sentenced to 7 years in a mental hospital. And earlier this year, a judge signed off on her going to a group home, even though many people rejected, saying she had violent communications with someone on the outside and watched violent things on the inside. And at this group home that was supervised, she was able to cut off her ankle monitor and escape last night at 8 p.m. and she's been missing ever since. And to make things worse, she has since been seen with an adult accomplice. Peyton and her family are currently being protected by law enforcement after hearing what happened. But authorities said as of this morning, they don't know where she is. Prayers to Peyton. Let me know what you guys think about this, and as always, I'll keep you guys updated.
So Monster Energy drink literally glows under a black light, showing you that it is radioactive
material bullshit. Let's go ahead and have a look at this. He cracks the can open. You can see it right there. But wait till he pours this. This is messed up, guys. Now, if you know about Monster, you know that this drink is very satanic. Now watch this. This symbol, there's sixes in Hebrew. 666, unleash the beast. They also have a cross on their can, and when you turn the can upside down, it is the inverted cross, the satanic cross. You ever see this before? This is a reflection from the can of Monster Energy. And you can see that there's some sort of message here, some sort of coded message, possibly and most probably in Hebrew. Yeah, guys, listen, stop drinking Monster Energy, poison, satanic, ritual drink. Okay, peace.
Honestly, just any energy drink in general, in my opinion. If you really want to go like energy based, I'd say go with like coffee, maybe even like a ginger shot or two. Like, you know, that usually gets your energy naturally boosted.
Leonardo DiCaprio did horrible things during certain parties with Diddy. The photo that just leaked is going to cause Leonardo's biggest downfall. This photo proves even more that he was involved in the P. Diddy affair. Diddy wasn't smart. He filmed all his parties at home. So after his arrest, a lot of photos and videos leaked, including the one with Leonardo and Diddy, where they're seen with several people in a bed doing something strange. The worst part is that Leonardo DiCaprio is hiding now. He left the United States more than 6 months ago and is living quietly in Italy and France. Even I'm disgusted. He's an incredible actor, but now we see his true face. Diddy said that Leonardo DiCaprio was his favorite guest at the Freak-Offs, especially since he never missed a party. So we can only imagine the horrors Leonardo may have committed during those nights. The files that have come out will destroy his career, that's for sure. It's only a matter of time. We thought he was untouchable, but this photo is proof that no one escapes the truth, not even the biggest stars. Soon, everyone will see Leonardo's true face, and there won't be any roles left for him in Hollywood.
I don't think enough people talk about how absolutely insane Rasputin was. This dude went from being a homeless, creepy peasant to literally being best friends with the most powerful person in Russia. So Rasputin started as a peasant from a tiny town in Siberia until having a spiritual awakening and leaving his wife and children to go wander around Russia as a spiritual healer and mystic. Basically a glorified homeless guy who thought that he had magical powers. Well, he ends up meeting Nicholas II, the last emperor of Russia, and he's amused by Rasputin, so he invites him to live at the palace to entertain guests and his family, but he also uses him to ask about what the people are thinking about the empire and the gossip among the peasants. That would be like Trump hiring some random homeless guy from the street to live at the White House as an advisor. Anyways, Nicholas and his wife Alexandra have a son Alexei who's the only heir to the kingdom, and he's sick with a disease that has a high mortality rate in children. Now here's where it gets weird. Rasputin gets closer to the family and starts to actually heal people. Doctors back then couldn't explain it, and even now historians aren't even sure what happened, but Rasputin somehow miraculously cured Alexei of his disease. That made Nicholas and Alexandra love him even more, and when Nicholas is out fighting in World War I, Rasputin is buddies with Alexandra, telling her what policies to enact, having real political influence. Now this was a problem because everyone knew that Rasputin was literally crazy. He loved to flash people, run around naked, literally hit on every single woman possible, including the princesses. He was absolutely nuts. So while Russia is fighting in the biggest war ever and people are starving in the street, you have this creepy homeless guy with magical powers guiding important political decisions. So a lot of both enemies and citizens want to kill him. In 1914, a peasant woman stabbed him in the stomach and he survived. Then 2 years later, family members of Nicholas II invited him to dinner and laced everything with cyanide. It's reported that he consumed enough poison to kill 5 men, and yet he still didn't die. So they panicked and did it the old-fashioned way by shooting him in the body. But a little while later, he sprang back up to life and ran across the courtyard until finally being shot in the head and his body dumped in the lake. The last Russian Empire fell less than a year later.
I remember learning about Rasputin in school, and it was just like, who is this dude? Like, his story just seems so like fake.
2007, 35-year-old Ava Wisniewska was a member of the German national paragliding team. Ava had competed in 10 of the world's biggest paragliding competitions, and she had won 6 of them, making her the top female paraglider in the world. On February 24th of that year, Ava was preparing her gear alongside 200 other paragliders on Mount Bora in New South Wales, Australia. This was Ava's last training opportunity before her first major competition of that year, which was scheduled for the next week. One of the coaches made an announcement. He said storm clouds have been spotted to the north. Ava decided that she was going to do it. The rest of the German national team, they didn't want to take the risk. And so strapped into her glider, she took a good run forward and launched herself up into the air. On the ground, the rest of the German national team followed in a van to track her progress. The first part of Ava's journey was incredibly calm. Two large thunderstorm clouds appeared in front of her, one larger than the other. Ava and the other two people she was with, which was an Austrian team member and a Chinese team member, began aggressively flying around the outside of these clouds when all of a sudden the storm completely changed. The big cloud overtook the small cloud, creating this 12-mile wide cumulonimbus cloud that now all three paragliders were stuck inside of. The Austrian man was able to pull down on one toggle, point his feet, and begin spiraling all the way out of the grasp of this updraft. And he said he turned to look at the other two, and he didn't see the Chinese man, but he did see Ava, and she was desperately trying to do what he was doing, but she was clearly caught in the updraft, and he watched her get pulled up into the black cloud out of view. Inside the cloud, the storm was lifting her at a rate of 60 feet per second. And at some point, Ava reached the eye of the storm where it's pitch black and the temperatures are freezing and hail balls the size of oranges are pelting her. And the updraft kept pulling her higher until she passed out from a lack of oxygen. And at some point, this updraft actually shot her up and out of the cloud. She was now in air that was 50 degrees below zero, which meant everything completely froze. But somehow, she didn't die. She just kept floating around above this storm cloud for 45 minutes. The ice on one side of the glider broke off, causing it to collapse, throwing her into a deadly free fall. She clears the storm, and then right after getting out from underneath it, her glider miraculously just opens back up again. And the jerking motion jolted her awake, and she was able to reach up and grab her toggles, and she was able to fly herself down to the ground, grabbed her radio, and she called her team. When they heard her voice, they could not believe she was alive, because the other paraglider, the guy from the Chinese national team, he unfortunately was struck by lightning and was killed. When they brought her to the hospital, they discovered that virtually nothing was wrong with her. She had some pretty bad bruises and cuts from the hail, and she had a little bit of frostbite on her face, but it was treatable. After leaving the hospital, she and her teammates went back to the launch site, and when they got there, she looked at her GPS. The screen showed she had reached an altitude of 32,634 feet. To put this in perspective, is the same altitude you fly at inside of a commercial jet. No human being had ever been that high, unprotected, and lived to tell the tale, until Ava.
Okay, this is cool. I'm in like a circle of mushrooms right now. I recently got sent a big map on the dark web with over 190,000 locations, and this is one of them.
This incident affected over 300 kids, and till this day, nobody knows what the hell this was. In the summer of 1980, these kids in England were supposed to be doing a performance for like this jazz competition that they were doing. All their parents are attending, you know, the kids are getting ready to compete. Around 10 a.m., right when they're about to start doing their performances, with no explanation, all of these kids, one by one, just start dropping to the ground. Like they all just start passing out. Everybody's just super confused, like what the hell is even happening? The numbers start getting astronomical. These kids in like rows, even some of the babies, 300 to 400 kids, all just passed out during this performance. They instantly were just like, okay, bro, we gotta do something about this. We gotta like call the police or whatever the case may be. So they call the authorities. Authorities end up coming through. They end up bringing like ambulances and people like that. And they had to take in 259 of these people that didn't wake up from it. They still don't know what the hell happened to them. Hella of the kids reported feeling dizzy. Half of them were like throwing up and stuff like that. They said they felt like their arms and legs had no bones in them. That's how they all said they felt. And they just passed out and didn't remember anything. After that situation happened, a bunch of people started going over there to like see what was happening. So they were like, okay, maybe it was like a gas leak, the stage, the area, was it the lights, was it this? Like they even looked at what all the kids ate that day to try to see if it was food poisoning, right? They went through every explanation possible, and it was none of those.
That's nobody else, weird.
Nobody else knows how to explain this either.
We predicted like mans are gonna start getting the mark of the beast.
Oh.
Yeah.
Today I'm gonna get a microchip implanted in my hand.
But it was some Asian guy, right? And this is his thought process. Whenever he gets like Uber Eats from his apartment, you know we have the fob key?
Yeah.
Sometimes I forget it, right? So I'm gonna put the microchip in my phone, right? So now he's like, oh, sometimes I do leave my phone. What is actually always on me? Myself. So he's like, yes. And there's a video, them planting the needle in it, and he goes into his elevator, goes like this.
Programming is done now, let's go try it out. So now I should be able to tap my hand and select my floor.
Look, the mark of the beast, look.
It's
not that serious. It's not that serious. It's not that serious. You could wear a necklace. Yeah. You could do so much shit. You could wear a ring, bro.
Accidents from the past that are still unsolved today. The Phoenix Lights UFO of 1997.
Take a look at this.
Oh my God. Oh.
There's a third one.
In the spring of 1997 in Phoenix, Arizona, an enormous V-shaped aircraft covered in glowing lights silently glided across the night sky. Thousands watched in shock as it spanned miles, moving completely without sound. Some say it was an alien craft, while the Air Force claimed it was military flares. Whatever it was, the lights stunned the city, and to this day, no one knows how it appeared or vanished. The mystery of Stonehenge. Built over 4,500 years ago in Wiltshire, England, it predates the Great Pyramids by 500 years. Some stones weigh over 40 tons and were transported hundreds of miles by hunter-gatherers, using only ropes, wooden sledges, and sheer manpower. Why they built it and how they raised these massive stones with no modern tools remains one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world.
I'm honestly surprised there aren't more people talking about this recent case coming out of Alabama, especially on TikTok. This TikTok that I got tagged in has several different images. The caption says, POV, you saw what happened in Alabama 3 days ago, and now you're traumatized. We can see this small hut, a very dilapidated looking bedroom, and then mugshots of 3 individuals. So recently, near Brett, Alabama, 7 people were arrested in connection to crimes against children. These 7 people held at least 10 individuals ranging from 3 to 15 years old in this makeshift bunker, where they would charge clients to go down and have their way with those 3 to 15-year-olds. I can't go into great detail as to exactly what happened inside of the building, but I can tell you shock collars were used to keep people in line. They were also given certain substances that would make them more drowsy and therefore more compliant. It is extremely deplorable stuff. I do want to say this is all alleged right now. Nobody's been convicted, but honestly, with the amount of evidence here, hopefully justice will do its thing.
This is a video of the Pope opening these doors for Christmas. This video came out last year, and it's now surfacing that there is something hiding in this video that nobody noticed, and it is honestly unnerving and unsettling. So I need to say first, no weapon formed against us shall prosper, and I rebuke this in the name of Jesus, because what you're about to see is absolutely shocking. And you already missed it. It just played. You didn't even see it. I'm going to slow it down, zoom it in, and we're going to need to talk about this. Now watch closely. As he is getting, I slowed it down so you'll be able to see it. As this door is opening, there's someone waiting on the other side of the door, and something about them does not add up. Bottom right corner, look over here. Look at this guy's head. Do you notice anything? Do you notice it? Dude, where are his ears? Where are this dude's ears? Look very closely. There's no shadow for them. There is no ear. What opened the door for the Pope? And why doesn't it have ears? My ears will never look like this. Even if I shaved my whole head, you'd still see my ears. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more.
Bro, the angles were bad, the camera quality was bad. There's a whole bunch of things that was bad to make it really hard to know, like, if he didn't really have ears or not.
Hidden truths behind everyday nursery rhymes. The Muffin Man. In Victorian London, bakers known as Muffin Men walked the streets selling baked goods to families. In a place called Drury Lane in London, there was a serial killer named Frederick Linwood, who used muffins to lure children down alleyways and murder them. What sounds like a cheerful nursery rhyme for kids is actually a dark story hiding behind a tasty treat. And just like that, the Muffin Man became infamous. Jack and Jill. This wasn't actually about 2 kids fetching water. Historians link it to the French Revolution when Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette were executed. Jack broke his crown, meaning he was beheaded, and Jill came tumbling after, meaning she was executed shortly after. This really is a twisted nursery rhyme in disguise. Barbar Black Sheep. This one dates back to the 13th century, where wool tax was introduced by King Edward I against farmers. The 3 bags full went to the king, the church, and the nobility, leaving none for the poor farmer's child. It wasn't sung about sheep, but about heavy taxes on the poor.
How did this Filipino fisherman accidentally find one of the rarest objects on Earth? It all started back in 2006 while the man was on his normal boat route when suddenly he was surrounded by a massive storm. In a panic, he tried to sail away, but his anchor was stuck on something preventing him from leaving. Taking matter into his own hands, he dove down to his anchor and tried moving the object himself. But the object he found was much different than he could ever imagine. It was a giant, shiny, weird-looking white rock. And at first, he thought nothing of it, carrying it back to his boat because he thought it looked cool. Sailing back home and stuffing the rock under his bed, completely unaware of what he just found. Fast forwarding an entire 10 whole years later, his house caught on fire, burning down half of his house, forcing him to move. But while he was taking out everything that survived, he rediscovered the giant white rock, finally deciding to bring it to a local tourist office, hoping they knew what it was. But when he walked inside and revealed it to them, it left everyone speechless. The object he found wasn't a rock, but one of the world's largest pearls ever discovered in human history, worth over $100 million.
Let me guess, he didn't even get half of that money.
Have you heard of the Hexham Stoneheads? Two boys from this town in England called Hexham, they were digging up stuff in their backyard and they would find these stoneheads, super creepy, brought them into their house. Immediately they noticed something. They noticed strange activity, things falling off the shelf.
No way.
So the mother, she noticed a wolf-like creature appear before her.
A wolf-like creature?
Yeah, so like part wolf, part man. It wasn't just her, her daughter also noticed it and saw it. They wanted to get rid of it, so they gave it to this doctor. Her name is Dr. Ann Ross. She was a huge skeptic and she was an archaeologist, so she knew she could debunk this. Right. So she took in the stoneheads into her house. She noticed the wolf-like creature and her daughter also noticed it.
No way.
And she would also become like the biggest believer of this.
It was about 6 feet high, slightly stooping, black, very dark fur. And it was half animal and half man. Something made me run after it. A thing I wouldn't normally have done, but I felt compelled to run after it. And then it disappeared towards the back of the house. And when I got to the bottom of the stairs, I was terrified. The day that the heads were removed from the house, since then, there hasn't been really a trace of it.
So she donated the stoneheads to a museum, but the museum workers also noticed a wolf-like creature at the exhibit.
Why does anyone still possess these things?
So they ended up giving to experts to analyze it. And then a guy came out and said that he made them, and his name was Desmond Craigie, and he said that he lived in that house where the stoneheads were found, and he said that he just made them for his daughter. When experts told him to recreate it, they weren't really convinced. So there's a lot of debate whether this guy was telling the truth or not. But the strangest part is that these stoneheads ended up disappearing. So they were passed around people to analyze, right? And eventually this psychic would get his hands on it. No one knows who this guy was, but he would lose it. To this day, no one knows what happened to the stoneheads. So it's one of the strangest paranormal cases to come out of the UK.
I run your simulation. Of course birds aren't real. Pigeons are just my spies. Have you ever seen a baby pigeon? I run your simulation. Of course we can watch it without you knowing. And we don't even need a camera to do it. It's called remote viewing. It's like spectator mode in Call of Duty. I run your simulation. Of course when new things happen, you can watch it on The Simpsons from episodes 20 years ago. I wrote The Simpsons before I wrote this code. I run your simulation. Of course I spray chemtrails in the sky. This planet is just getting too much sun. I need to block it. Otherwise my scales get itchy. I run your simulation. Now you really think we went to the moon but only explored 12% of the ocean? Wake up, man. You're losing it. I run your simulation. Of course you experienced deja vu. You just had to rewrite something in the code. Had to reboot or whatever. I run your simulation. Of course a psychic isn't gonna tell you that you're in a simulation. They work for me. They make it feel real. I run your simulation. Of course there's a bunch of NPCs out here. You really think God got time to make 8 billion souls? We've been making bootleg people for a while now. I run your simulation. Of course all the celebrities have doppelgangers from different timelines. We're recycling them. If you loved them in 1920, you're gonna love them in 2025. Wait till we bring back Cleopatra. I run your simulation. Of course you have to read everything backwards to get the truth. I'm literally lying to you.
You don't have thalassophobia, I'm gonna give it to you right now. Part infinity of why the ocean is terrifying. We're not even gonna talk about the spiritual part anymore. We're just gonna talk about the facts. These scientific facts, since y'all love science so much. Before we get into the tea, make sure that you guys follow my backup TikTok and my YouTube, just in case this one gets banned. Y'all know that there are black holes in the ocean called eddies that can last for months and even years. I gotta bring out the Chuck Bass eyes for y'all to understand. Years. Do y'all like black holes? Where does it lead? What's in there? Why does it last for years? And it can be up to 150 kilometers. Look up how big that is. Please look up how big that is. The fact that there is so much going on in the ocean that we don't know about, that we are purposely being kept in the dark about. Let's talk about the 1970s. In the 1970s, the Navy put sensors on the ocean floor to try to be able to detect things like submarines and other equipment. They found that there are not only structures in the ocean, but things resembling UFOs that travel at lightning speed on the ocean floor. This was in the 1970s. And of course, y'all remember Congress just talking about there's a presence in the ocean, UAPs. This is old news, but they're trying to present it as new news. I promise you there's more than that 5% of the ocean discovered. They just have not told us about it yet. Oh yeah, TikTok, this for entertainment purposes only, none of it's true. Also, just whole other topic. Did you know that if you were to fall off a cruise ship or any kind of ship in the middle of the ocean and stay in that ocean for 3 days, the salt water would start to molt your skin off your bones? Yeah. Have y'all heard of Point Nemo? The farthest you can possibly be from land. And do y'all know about the fact that NASA dumps space equipment in Point Nemo? I'm gonna tell you something right now. I truly believe that there's something else going on at Point Nemo, not just space junk dumping. Out of all the places, why would you choose there to dump space junk? Another point, can y'all actually sit down and try to think about how many corpses are just in the ocean? Like throughout history, how many people have been dumped in the ocean? Do y'all remember how the slaves chose the sea and they would jump into their death? Like, just imagine. When you're at the beach, I want you to think about that. While you're at it, I want you to look up Sauce 90. And I know we're getting back to the spiritual part of it, but I want you to look up Sauce 90 and look at his siren videos. I know for a fact that this dude has come in contact with sirens, because ain't no way, like, those videos will send chills down my spine at any moment. Long story short, y'all asking me, oh, is space or the ocean more terrifying? You really have to ask that question. This is exactly why you won't find me in the ocean more than knee deep. That's maybe even ankle deep. Knee deep is on a good day. Okay? As always, y'all, make sure you like and follow and comment down below what you think.
Who actually uses 4chan, and why is it Taylor Swift? There's a theory on the internet that Taylor Swift was an active user of 4chan in the early 2010s. This is allegedly one of her first posts on the site, hinting towards that. On December 18th, 2011, an anon makes a post writing, "Hi/B, I am one of the 50 most famous people on the planet. Ask me anything except my name." They also add, "I'm famous for being an entertainer. As far as that stat goes, I'm being conservative. The numbers suggest that I'm doing much better than top 50. People would start digging and eventually find this post made in 2009 that simply reads, "Hi/B, I'm feeling down. Please make me smile." Now, clearly in the attached photograph, the girl has blonde hair and it looks like she's sitting on a black couch with wooden shutters behind her. And what do you know, in a YouTube video, Taylor Swift is seen with the exact same background. This could easily be a coincidence. I don't think wooden shutters or black sofas are rare, but it is kind of funny how similar these two spots look. Then on December 28th, 2011, this picture was posted to 4chan. This user writes on their tablet, "Sup/B, nothing quite like a freezing cold, wintry beach." And later that day, Taylor tweets the exact same thing, "Nothing quite like a freezing cold, wintry beach." But the strongest piece of evidence for this theory, in my opinion, is this post made on November 6th, 2011. Anon writes, "Trips names my new kitten." 4chan doesn't use usernames, instead every post is marked with a posting number. Dubs refers to getting the same number twice in a row in that posting number, which is already incredibly rare, and trips refers to getting the same number repeated 3 times in a row. While a user in that thread gets trips, the number 9 is repeated 3 times in a row, and they suggest to name the cat Meredith. And literally the next day, on November 7th, Taylor Swift announces her new baby kitten, Meredith. So was Taylor Swift an active 4chaner? I don't know, but it definitely seems possible. Let me know what you guys think though. Was she regularly browsing /B, or are these all just coincidences?
Drake is being called out on Twitter for having a minor delivered to a party. This tweet is going very viral right now about Drake and a minor, so let's get into it. In this tweet, they are sharing information about this woman who says on July 22nd of 2023, she got invited to Drake's after party. And she said, "I'm never questioning how hot I am ever again, getting invited to Drake's after party." And then she would post this photo with the OVO bracelet on and said after party vibes, when you legit hug Drake and hold hands and you had a whole combo. And you know how the internet be pulling them receipts. Well, they brought up this woman's profile on Instagram. And from pulling all of these receipts, they found out that this girl was only a junior in high school when she was at Drake's after party, because she didn't graduate high school until a whole year later on July 5th of 2024. And this Twitter thread has so much information, they even pulled the event that was happening before Drake had this private after party, and it was at Sneaky D's, and it was a dance party, but you had to be 19 years or older just to go to this. And then they pulled the same receipts of Drake having this after party after this event, the same night that this girl is saying that she was invited to the Drake after party. And they are alleging in this Twitter thread that Drake wanted this girl hand delivered to the after party because one of these OVO stan accounts said, "Sir, Sarah Heed," which is the same woman, "is in the after party. She sent me a message and I sent them to you." But this is something I'm honestly not really surprised over. Kendrick literally said this for a reason. Stan, Kendrick said what he said for a reason, and honestly, I don't think this is anything that Drake will ever be able to live down. But y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
Trying to strike a chord, and it's probably minor.
Disney tells us that mermaids are thoughtful, beautiful creatures, but the Book of Enoch tells us a far more sinister history. On my channel, we have been diving into this alleged lost book of the Bible that was discovered in the Dead Sea Scrolls, but for some reason is not included in the canon Bible that we know today. Many people say it's because it has knowledge that we were never intended to know. For example, who are mermaids? Where did they come from? Are they good or are they evil? The answer, according to the Book of Enoch, because I know how y'all like to tussle. If you can see it, I have the book and I'm reading it. Sirens are actually the mothers of demons. So essentially they're real, but they're evil. Long story short, a long time ago, 200 angels rebelled against God and heaven and decided to procreate with the mortal women that were on earth. And from these mortal women came a cursed species of giants that ate up all of humans' resources on earth and then started to consume humans themselves. And when they got to be hungry enough, they even started to eat each other, becoming cannibalistic and doing vile things here on earth. These events led up to Noah's flood because God said enough is enough. Now during this flood is when Noah had built the ark and him and his family escaped, but the Nephilim were not so lucky. They drowned in the water, but it wasn't the end for them. What if I were to tell you that the demons that we know today are actually the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, aka the giants, roaming the earth seeking what souls that they can devour, and that's where the whole ghosts having unfinished business came from. Now those fallen angels that rebelled were punished by God and put in shackles. 4 of those fallen angels are actually now chained under the Euphrates River, and in Revelations, the last book of the Bible, it is said that they will be let out and they will unalive 1/3 of the population during the time of judgment. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty when it comes to the mothers of demons. You probably understand now why they are called that, but you'll ask yourself, okay, so the Nephilim got punished, the fallen angels got punished, but what about the women? The women were actually cursed to roam the sea until their final day of judgment. And this is why throughout history, we can see so many versions of sirens, because they've been around since the dawn of time. However, the media wants to desensitize us and make us think that mermaids are just wanting to be part of our world, collecting thingamabobs under the sea. That's not the case. And if you're still questioning whether or not sirens exist, just think to yourself that only 5% of the ocean is discovered. Who are we to say that we're the only ones living here? I mean, if you just look at history, mythology, you will see so many times that sirens rear their ugly head up from that water in so many different countries. You see them in Slavic folklore called the Rusalkas. You see them in African folklore called Mamiwata. You see them in Inuit folklore called the Kalupalik. They take many forms, but best believe none of those forms look like Ariel from The Little Mermaid. I hope this answered your question. I can definitely do a part 2 diving deeper into what I'm reading in the Book of Enoch. I always like to cross-check it with the Bible because I do not read the Book of Enoch as scripture. I read it as history, if that makes sense. As always, make sure you guys like and follow and comment down below what you think.
Mr. Beast was asked, yo, you've been to Antarctica, right? He goes, yeah. Have you seen the ice wall? Yeah.
Have you ever been to Antarctica? Yeah. Do you believe in the ice wall?
And then he goes, yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it. But I can't talk about it.
Yeah, I saw the ice wall. Yeah, you saw it too.
They were on a stream with XUC and Aiden Ross, and the XUC goes like, yeah, he's seen it. I seen it too. Oh my god. But yo, that guy's like, yeah, I know. Rich too. Yeah.
I can't say on the stream. No way.
But whatever he saw, he said, I can't talk about it on the stream. Damn. So what are they hiding in Antarctica?
Yeah, I know. Let's just say you always need someone with you when you're in Antarctica. Are you serious?
Yeah, we actually ended up doing an Antarctica deep dive on Friday. Nah, it was actually Saturday. So if you guys haven't seen that video, it was a live stream, so I'm gonna just tag the live stream in the after this video or in the corner right here. So
ever wonder why the McRib keeps disappearing? Ha! It's because this isn't pork. We press every slab fresh, straight from the source, you know? Look at these beauties. You can't get ribs this perfect from a pig. You love the taste, right? This is where we get the flavor, right here. Frozen fresh from yesterday's batch. You are what you eat. We couldn't make these without you, the people. No, like literally. We never said what kind of ribs. Now did we?
You're already infected.
Like I've said in like a lot of my previous videos, there's way too many McDonald's conspiracies involving cannibalism. Too much conspiracy theories of people finding teeth or like finding weird things in their food, bro. I can't stand that.
This is all over social media right now. They said from 50 to about 100 kids have just randomly vanished and went missing.
Yeah, bro, I heard about this, and I don't know if you've seen the extra stuff on it.
I did, bro, and I wanted to get into it.
Videos that are going viral.
Bro, there has been all these videos that have been circulating online that people are connecting to this case of like ice cream trucks that will be driving around neighborhoods stupid late at night.
Like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 1 in the morning, 3 in the morning type of stuff.
It's so weird. I'm not even gonna lie. And what's blowing my mind about this whole case, there is no Amber Alerts for any of these kids.
No media coverage.
No news coverage either. I've been seeing this all over online on TikTok, and the only reason why we know about this is because it's been online.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes you think a little bit like, what is going on? What I'm wondering is, are all of these videos just from Virginia, or are these from other places? Because I don't know. I don't see where it really shows. It's just a video of an ice cream truck at night. So I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows?
You know what I mean? Because people could be trying to add this other element to it that could be possible. But if this is all really in Virginia, bro, this is fucking weird.
Yeah, that's insane.
But a lot of people believe that this could be a case of human trafficking.
I think so too.
Because what I heard is Virginia ranked among the top 15 states in the US for reported human trafficking cases.
Really?
Yes, so they're one of them.
That's crazy. I didn't expect Virginia to be.
I didn't either.
Anywhere near that list,
I didn't either. Yeah.
Insane. A lot of people are saying like the music would be so loud on the ice cream truck, so that if they do grab a kid, you wouldn't
hear nothing.
Yeah, screaming and stuff. And if it is what it is, like if all these videos that we've been seeing are all from Virginia,
that's weird.
And it does come out that these guys have like a weird predator ring.
Yeah.
Where they're using ice cream trucks as a ploy to get kids to come to their truck so they could take them and stuff.
Yeah.
That's insane, bro.
Dude, the main thing I'm trying to figure out is what kid is going to be awake at 1 a.m. to go to an ice cream truck. And not only that, the ice cream truck that he showed at first was this bright lit, like Christmas looking ice cream truck. Dude, you know how much attention that garners? So if that garners a lot of attention, that'll be the worst thing to traffic people in.
Ready for IBS? Your stomach will hate you after eating this. It's Buldak Noodles. Are you hungry but don't want to cook whole dinner? We gotcha. Buldak Noodle is #1 quick and easy meal for you and family. We use bad ingredient to make noodles. You think this stuff is good? Your body will disagree. This stuff is packed with sodium. With over 1,300 milligrams in a single serving, your blood pressure will be higher than Snoop Dogg. Your stomach will despise you for eating this crap, but don't say I didn't warn you. Buldak Noodles. Fake food. Real sickness.
We're seeing some unbelievable footage out of Virginia as burglars pour into the street like a circus routine. 9 burglars were caught on camera coming out of what looked like a clown car. Check this out. 2 people were even seen climbing out of the trunk. Police say the group robbed a commercial building near Warrington on October 15th. And right now, they're asking the public's help to identify them.
Dude, when I saw someone pop out of the trunk, I thought it was only going to be like 1 person. 2 people? Yo, they fit 2 cars worth of people in 1 car.
Most of the comments had no idea that these birds can hunt antelope. Wait till they find out they can hunt lions. Meet the Martial Eagle. First off, this is the largest bird of prey in all of Africa. They get up to over 3 feet tall with an 8.5-foot wingspan. That's basically a plane. They also have larger talons than a lion has claws, and enough squeeze power to break bones, but that's a horror story for another day. What really separates this eagle from the rest is how they hunt. Basically, what they do is they fly up directly in front of the sun, blinding their prey. At that point, they begin to dive bomb at nearly 150 miles an hour, and they literally just crush their prey at full speed. Can you imagine minding your own business and then just getting smushed by a carnivorous missile? But because they hunt like that, they're able to take down much larger animals than most eagles. We're talking antelope, monkeys, monitor lizards, and in some cases, even lion cubs. They hunt lions. Moral of the story, when you're a bird that's known as the lion killer, that's light work. And as always, follow for more facts.
Ready to get geeked up on sugar? Look no further. Welcome to Krispy Kreme Donuts. People love our sugary fried donuts. They don't care that it's one of the most unhealthy things you can eat. They crush a box like it's nothing. Oh baby, look at these hot glazed donuts. I'm getting all worked up just looking at them. We pump these things out like you wouldn't believe. Fried in seed oils and coated with straight sugar. Your body will hate you for this. You know you want some. What the hell are you waiting for? The HOT Now sign just came on. Go ahead and take another bite. They'll eat you from the inside out. Welcome to everyone's favorite game show, Real or AI.
Honestly, let's just play this together. So I'm gonna say real or AI, and you guys let me know if you got it right, pretty much.
Let's get started.
Am I real or AI?
I'm not gonna lie, that kind of looks real. Real.
I'm AI.
Dead. Ew.
Am I real or AI?
That's definitely real. This has to be real. The audio just sounds real. Real, definitely.
I'm real.
100%, I knew that.
Am I real or AI?
Am I real or fake? I mean, AI. That's AI.
I'm AI.
This third so crazy. Definitely
Am
real.
I real or AI?
You can tell by just how she's holding the camera. Definitely real.
I'm real.
Yep.
Am I real or AI?
Am I real? Definitely AI. The angles are too good. Yep, AI.
I'm AI.
100%.
Follow for more. And remember, think before you trust.
Let me know in the comments if you guys got 100%. That first one, that looked pretty real, but for the rest of them, you could tell by like how they were moving the camera, the sound quality, because sometimes the AI is just so perfect. The angles are perfect, the sound quality is perfect, but like a real video, not everything's perfect unless you set it up to be perfect.
This is a terrifying story about how the president of France and his wife met. Now, whatever you're thinking I mean by terrifying, it's worse. Because you see, they met while they were in high school, when the future president of France went by Emmanuel and his future wife went by Teacher. In other words, they met when Bridget, her name's Bridget by the way, was 39, and there's a 24-year age gap between the two. Let me give something else a second. Okay, she was teaching a theater class. Her daughter was in that class. Her daughter had a classmate. His name was Emmanuel. They spark up a conversation. They spark up a relationship. And this is when Emmanuel's parents had a problem. They said, excuse me. Come here, boy. He said, but daddy, I love her. His parents told him, Emmanuel, we're taking you out of school. You're going to school in Paris because you're too young to know what love is. But she's not too young to know what love is, because she quite literally has an entire family at home. And here's where things start to get wicked. We already established that Bridget has kids. One of the kids being Emmanuel's classmate. Well, Bridget also had a husband. A full-on family. Emmanuel said, but daddy, I love her. They said, pack your bags. Emmanuel gets sent to Paris. He graduates. Him and Bridget spark up their relationship when he gets back. A few years then pass by. Bridget divorces her husband. Her and Emmanuel then get married. Then Emmanuel becomes president of France. Now, some of you may have seen recently that Emmanuel, the president of France, is suing somebody named Candace Owens. Candace Owens, a very controversial political commentator, claims that Emmanuel's wife, Bridget, the lady we just talked about, who's basically his auntie, was born a man. Now, I can't go into full detail about Emmanuel suing Candace Owens in this video. It would be too long, but don't worry, I made another video. Go watch it. But I bring this up in this video to say Emmanuel suing Candace Owens kind of backfired on him because the lawsuit became national news. People start looking into Emmanuel and Bridget's relationship. Then how Emmanuel and Bridget met kind of becomes national news. People go, ew. Somebody in France, side note, let me know. Was this common knowledge in France? Did everybody know how they met?
For all my people watching right now that's in France, let me know if you guys knew about this. But I wonder how she would feel if she was actually a woman and then someone is saying that she's a man, telling everyone she's a man, but she's actually a woman. That's like the Michelle Obama effect. Like a lot of people are like, Michelle's a man, Michelle's a man. But like, what if Michelle is actually a woman? Like, how do you feel as a woman thinking that people think you're a man?
Oh, you guys aren't ready for this one. Now, what people don't understand is there have been so many wars, so many resets, so much erasing of our true history. The weapons that these people used to use can turn cities into stone, could melt these cities. These examples are everywhere. So when you see interesting structures like the K Village ruins in Turkey, things like this, and all of this, just know that our ancient past has been covered up. Just like they do now, they had very sophisticated energy weapons. And of course, the mainstream narrative is just gonna tell you that this is just some simple rock formation. I beg to differ. You see, nothing is what it seems, ladies and gentlemen. Our history is nothing but a lie. That's why they call it history. It is his story. The victors have always wrote the history books. And the last thing they want is for us to discover the real origins of our true humanity. And as always, you need to look within for the real answers. Peace and love.
Time to leave. Why the fuck is there a lock on the outside of the door then? Not just that. This door right here, it was hidden away. It was hidden. This thing right here was covering it. So, who's been trapping people down there then? Because the moment I see that, if I'm staying there, I'm out. I'm packing my bags and I'm gone. I mean, just look at that. It's a stairway to hell. I'm out.
I'm assuming this guy is okay because the footage made it out. Was this an abduction caught on camera?
Yo, check this out. No BS, man. This is right here in the middle of the road. Like, I'm driving down the road here. Look, this is my car right here. No BS, yo. No BS. This thing is in the road, in the sky right there, in front of me. I'm on the road going to Somerville, like this thing turning. What the fuck is going on? Yo, it's a pyramid. No bullshit. A car coming down the road. Hold on. A car looking too. Hold on. Hold on. The car probably see it too. No BS, yo. That thing is in the sky. Look. Look, y'all. I want to know if the car see it. Put on my blinker lights. Is this thing turning? Listen, I'm telling y'all. I'm in my car now. I got on my blinking lights. I want to know if that car see it. Or that car probably don't know what's going on. This thing is right there. Am I tripping and I'm the only one seeing this thing? Hold on. I got my blinkers on. Hold on. Listen, am I the only one seeing this thing? Hold on. Look. This thing is in the sky just sitting there turning. That's a pyramid. Listen, y'all can't see it like I can see it. It look like a pyramid. For real. Let me zoom in. Oh, shit. I gotta zoom. This thing, do it look like it turning, y'all? Hold on. I'm tripping. Yo. That thing is, hold on, how could I zoom in? Let's see what it is. Yo, that's an object. That's something, yo. No BS. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. That shit Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
What happened to him? Leave your thoughts in the comments.
Yo, what the fuck? That shit!
Universe.
Oh, that shit!
Bro, my thoughts is like, he moved the camera when it started to get good. Like, what happened? I also be thinking to myself, like, that might be orbs. And y'all realize, like, recently we have not heard anything about the orbs that were in the sky, like, a couple months ago, almost like a year ago. Like, there was one point where, like, every single day people were talking about how there's orbs and drones and, like, these weird lights in the sky. And now we don't hear nothing about that. But in my opinion, too, I feel like if it was like an alien spacecraft, it wouldn't, I personally don't think aliens use light the same way that we humans use light, if that makes sense. So in my opinion, if it was truly an alien spacecraft, I don't think they would be shining any light unless they're specifically trying to look at something.
Welcome to Crumble Cookies. Is your sugar craving calling? I can fix that. Come inside. People love to come in and make videos of themselves buying and trying out our cookies. It's almost like they are hypnotized. We use tons of sugar and preservatives to make our cookies irresistible. Just imagine what this does to your kids. Seed oils, high fructose corn syrup, artificial dyes. We add all of this into our cookies just for you. So fun! Look at these delicious cookies, filled with 3 times the daily amount of sugar, lots of preservatives, and loads of other bad stuff. They will have you hooked instantly. All right, ladies, bring it in. Let's make one for TikTok. What's the flavor of the day?
Diabetes! Yes!
All it takes is one bite. You'll be a customer for life.
Every last crumb.
Customer for life. I don't know about that one.
You see what Justin Bieber posted? Posted this on his story. It was him eating a pizza in thermal.
What the hell?
Yeah.
On his Instagram?
Yeah, just randomly. And I'm like, why would you post this? And you know what the pizza's meant for.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. We don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, boom. And he's just eating. That's him. Everyone knows now what it means. This is when Cassie was going against Diddy in court.
Let me tie some strings together.
Okay, yeah.
What if he's trying to say to look at the thermal cameras? Because what if there's certain cameras that can see other things that the regular footage won't?
I'm saying, yo, you shine a black light in Diddy's house. Oh my God, imagine the that you find.
And yeah, what if it like leads you to another trail into the crib that you even know is there because it's under a black light?
That would be crazy tech. I'm not gonna lie. That's good. W hidden message.
And what you do with the pleasure of hitting the lights, sir? Ha ha. Whoa. What are all those stains?
That's a great idea for Diddy, but I don't know if people would want to really see that. I feel like the Justin Bieber post was also a stretch. Like, bro just probably thought he looked cool eating a pizza with thermal lighting.
Daisy, Daisy. Give me your answer, do. I'm half crazy. All for the love of you.
And I want you guys to have a look at this. This is at a McDonald's playground where children are caged in between the burger. Now let me just start by saying this is for entertainment purposes only, guys. But I want you to think very critically right now. This was displayed in one of the signs at McDonald's. Our secret ingredient is our people. Now I don't know if you know this, but there was a massive investigation not too long ago that found, the fact checkers obviously are like, no, that's not true, blah, 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 but like, You guys know about the Red Shoe Club? Now, I can't talk about these things here because I'm going to get banned and demonetized, but if you guys want to know the truth to what's going on with McDonald's and what is actually in their burgers, then comment the word truth, and I will send you an exclusive link to my inner circle where I can talk about what's really going on here. And don't forget to like, share, and follow for more hidden truth. Peace and love.
This is why you should always watch what you say in public. In the late 1970s, a man began breaking into homes in order to assault the families inside of them. After dozens of attacks and no suspects in custody, the citizens were totally on edge, so the police decide to host this town hall meeting so they can discuss the situation out in public. During the meeting, a local man stands up and says, "I would totally kick that guy's ass if he came anywhere near my wife." Then, in a crazy, ironic turn of events, that angry man and his wife become the next victims. wives. Following their assault, the attacker completely changes his behavior. He goes from petty home invader to full-blown serial killer, targeting only married men and their wives. Decades later, police finally identified Joseph DeAngelo as the killer. As they're going through old photos from the case, they make a startling discovery about his motives. DeAngelo had attended that town hall meeting. Watch this video.
With it then. If they were using her to...
I don't think Ivanka would do that inside the magazine, although she does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka were my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Stop it! Oh, it's so weird. Stop. You know what? You are sick.
That's Donald Trump appearing on The View back in 2006 with his daughter Ivanka. And the context is that they're asking him if he would be okay with Ivanka posing for Playboy magazine. And he said, oh, I don't think she would do that. But either way, she has a great figure, and I've said that if she wasn't my daughter, I'd be dating her. Everyone is laughing, whatever, but they're like, yo, you're sick. Like, that's pretty disgusting, right? That's your daughter. After that interview aired, and he got a lot of criticism from the public for making such a disgusting comment, his spokesperson, Jim Dowd, told the Associated Press he was absolutely joking with the comment about his daughter. Quote, he was making fun of himself for his tendency to date younger women. It's a sense of humor that people don't see from him all the time. Now, I mention this because we're looking at this situation with Trump calling a female reporter from Bloomberg News a piggy to her face and telling her to be quiet simply because he didn't like the question that she was asking about him being mentioned in the emails regarding the Epstein files, right? Something that's not justifiable, right? By any means. But then, of course, we see this.
What does it mean when he called a reporter piggy? Look, the president is very frank and honest with everyone in this room. You've all seen it yourself. You've all experienced it yourselves. And I think it's one of the many reasons that the American people reelected this president, because of his frankness. And he calls out fake news when he sees it. He gets frustrated with reporters when you lie about him, when you spread fake news about him.
Somehow, some way, everything Donald Trump has said throughout his life, no matter how disgusting, no matter how weird, no matter how vile, has always been found to have a justification, right? Including this situation. So it just shows that this guy has a lifelong pattern of making these kinds of comments, and there's always an explanation. It's always okay. It's always right. But just know, if you find that funny, you find that that's justifiable, that it's okay, that she deserved it, any of those thoughts, you are just like him. You are exactly as disgusting and as vile as Donald Trump if you continue to support him. So have at it. Have a great time.
I mean, that's wild to say someone is just like him just because they support him, I guess you could say. I wouldn't say that. But obviously that girl is going to have a rebuttal for anything anybody says about Trump because he hired her. Imagine I'm a CEO of a big company, right? I hire someone below me. I'm like, listen, anything they ask you, just tell them whatever. And I'm paying you money to do it. Like, obviously, you're going to stick up for me. Like, you're not going to be like, oh, yeah, my boss, he's retarded. Like, I don't know what he was talking about with the whole dating his old daughter thing or Miss Piggy. Like, she would get fired immediately. You know how Trump is. He fires people left and right and doesn't care. But the daughter Ivanka thing, my main thought was like, what did Ivanka think? He said he was joking, but that joke was not a very funny one. I don't think any of us listened to that and was just like, yo, he's very funny. Did you laugh? I don't think you laughed. I'm not gonna lie. I can see you right now, and I know for a fact you didn't laugh when he said that. So I don't know what type of joke that was, but it wasn't a funny one.
Thank you all for watching this here video.